you guys are going to go on a little nature walk today, and what we're going to see is a lot of things that are happening here in the swamp. If you have not been here before or have been here before, what kinds of things or plants or animals do you think you might see today around this time of year? Yeah.
Might see mushrooms.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely might see mushrooms. What else do you think you might see?
Rattlesnake.
Rattlesnake. There are a couple of venomous snakes that live in New Jersey. We do have timber rattlers here. We may or may not see them, but they do live in New Jersey.
Frogs. Frogs.
Yes, we have a lot of frogs here. You might actually hear them before you see them today. Any other animals you might see? Yeah. Yep, we might see deer.
A lot of birds.
A lot of birds. You're probably hearing some now up in the trees.
Turtles.
Turtles. We got lots of turtles. Anything else think you might see? Yeah. Beavers. We might see beavers. So the point of this walk today is that I want you guys to really enjoy nature and the things that are going on this time of year. If you have a question, you can raise your hand and we'll answer it. But I want this to be like a learning experience. And what I'd like you to take away from this walk is that we might see a lot of things that you might have never seen before or haven't seen a lot of. Like certain types of insects, maybe a certain type of a spider or a certain type of furry animal, like a chipmunk or maybe a raccoon or even a different type of snake called a garter snake. Even if you might be nervous about these animals, even if you have never seen them before or you might not think they're very pretty, everything that you're going to see here has a purpose and is meant to live here just like you guys are meant to live where you are in New Jersey. So we're going to learn about as much of the things as we can, and if you see something cool that interests you, raise your hand and we can talk about that, all right? We're going to be trying to cover as much ground as we can in an hour. So we're going to head down the trail.
My recorders keep taking pictures, start taking pictures, start recording.
It was somewhere. The swamp and it looks fun.
Come on, go.
Some of you guys might see lots of little animals running on the forest floor. Can you guys see those?
Yeah.
Yep. Those of you guys in the back, if you can look ahead of you, you might actually see some small furry animals running on the forest floor. Can you see them?
No. I see them.
Sometimes you have to be careful. These ones coming there. Even if you look behind you, you might see them too. They're called chipmunks. They live on the forest floor, and I can show you a big picture. They look like this. They're very cute. They live on the ground. They eat nuts and berries and seeds. And a lot of people think that they're a type of a squirrel, but they're not. Squirrels like to live way up in the trees. I guarantee you're going to see a lot of chipmunks today. And this is where they like to live. They like to live in nice, soft dirt. Some of you guys might actually see them, in East Orange around your houses. They like to burrow in tiny little places, even in cracks in the sidewalk too. So you can find them in a lot of different places. So, we might see lots of animals today. We've already talked about that we might see deer, we might see squirrels, we might even see a fox, we might even see rabbits, maybe raccoons, lots of animals. But the special thing about this place is that this is a National Wildlife Refuge. Do any of you guys know what it might mean for a place to be called a refuge? What kind of place do you think we're talking about? If I say a place is a refuge, do you think people are allowed to hunt on it? Do you think people are allowed to build houses on it? This place is a protected place for all the plants and animals that live here, but this is not a zoo. So we won't be seeing these animals in cages. The way that we might get to see a close look at these animals is if we use quiet voices, because a wild animal, if they hear a loud group of people, they'll get scared and they'll run away. So you guys will be really lucky to see animals that are close to you, like the chipmunks. They're not scared of us because we're being really good and quiet. I actually heard the chipping sound. Can you guys hear that chip sound? Like a squeak? That's a bird. That sound. Behind us, that's a chipmunk. They make that little chip, chip sound. Now sometimes you might actually see signs of animals before you see the animal. You might hear them like we're hearing the birds. and just for the fun of it, we may come across something that looks like this. What does this look like in my hand?
Coal.
It does look like coal, but this is not coal. It's something you'll find on the trail if an animal has been here. Poop? Yes, poop. As a naturalist, and as people who love to learn about animals, we're fascinated with animal poop. Which sounds disgusting, but it actually is really interesting. Because animal poop can tell us a clue about what animal's been there. Every animal's poop, or scat, looks different. So, if we actually passed animals scatting the trail, you can raise your hand and tell everyone, because that actually lets us know what kind of animal's been there. We see a lot of fox scat around. Any guesses to what animal made this scat? This is a pretty big scat. Can you think of the largest animal that we might find here in the woods? What do you think the largest animal we might find here would be? A bear? Yeah, this is a black bear scat. They are the largest mammal that we can find in New Jersey. Have any of you ever seen a black bear? They can be found in any part of New Jersey, even in East Orange, even in very busy places. This is what the track looks like. It's really big. That's their actual footprint. It's called a mole. So when an animal steps in the dirt, we pour plaster in it, and it hardens, and it's the exact same shape as the animal's foot. If you like, you can put your hand against it. You can all have a chance and see how big the foot is compared to your hand. We understand it's a pretty big animal. And this is the front foot, so this is like the hand of the bear. I'll come by to you. I'll give everyone a chance. That is an actual footprint. Do you like the track? Yeah, they're pretty big. And this probably wasn't even one of the biggest bears here. This is a pretty small footprint for a black bear. They can be a little bit bigger. A lot of people think that black bears are the biggest bear in North America, but they're not. The biggest bear in North America is the grizzly bear. Do we have grizzly bears here? No. That's right. So, and grizzly bears are actually known for being aggressive, but black bears are actually very, very nice and very shy. And there has never, in the history of New Jersey, been an attack on anyone by a black bear. So we're good. Okay, let's continue on the trail. So one of your classmates found something really cool on the trail. What does this look like to you? What do you think this is? Yeah. A caterpillar's home? That's a great guess. It actually does look like a caterpillar's home. Are there any other guesses as to what it might be? It does look like a caterpillar's home, called a cocoon or a chrysalis, but this is actually a pack of seeds. This is from a very special tree called the tulip poplar. It's one of the tallest trees that we'll see here. And it doesn't look like seeds up close, but you're going to see that I can peel away layers of it. And each layer is a seed. And they're all stuck together now because it's very young and it fell off the tree early.
And what is that called?
The tree?
What's in your hand? What do you call that?
This is the seed. This is the seed pod.
The seed pod?
Yeah.
Of a plant?
Of a tulip poplar tree.
Oh, okay.
If I find the flowers on the ground of a tulip poplar, then I'll let you know when we see it.
We have it.
I found another one.
Ah,
And there's one behind you.
excellent find.
One behind you. Yeah,
One behind me?
one that I said.
All right. Well, I'll let you guys take a look at these. You guys can hold one over here. You guys can hold this one over here. These are the leaves of the tulip poplar tree. It's still attached to the leaves, so you guys know what it looks like, and you guys can have a look at this one. And if you look at them, there's like little pieces of seed up in layers. So there's many, many seeds on that one small piece, and they're actually going to fall off in late August or September. The reason why those are on the ground is because there are animals that like to eat the seeds, and they cut the seed pod off before it grows. Have you ever heard of a squirrel?
Yep. Yes.
They love to eat those seeds. So that's why you're seeing them on the ground, because the squirrels cut them off the tree, come down the tree, and then eat the seeds. Because to a squirrel, it's delicious.
And you know what? You said the name of, what was the name of the tree again?
Tulip poplar.
Tulip? How you spell poplar?
Poplar.
Poplar.
AR.
Oh, poplar. Tulip poplar. Oh, okay.
Poplar? P-O-P-L-A-R.
Poplar tree. And wait a minute, we're going
You gotta put that back.
to
Excellent.
take a picture.
Stephanie, I have a question.
Yes.
Of her holding the tree.
Don't you have to put that back?
Come over here, guys.
Look
Come over.
at this. Before I tell you what this is, those of you guys standing right on the edge,
over
if you
here.
guys want to squat down, those of you on the edge, squat down here so that people behind you can see. Before I tell you what this is, what do you think it is?
A mushroom?
A mushroom?
No, flower.
Flower?
Mushroom.
Mushroom? You're both correct. This is a fungus. It is a parasitic fungus. This is the flower. It has no chlorophyll. Do you know what chlorophyll does in a leaf? It makes it green. If you ever notice, look at all these leaves. They're all green. They're green because they have the chlorophyll. They have no chlorophyll. They're white. So it's like a ghost plant. It's a parasitic fungus. What that means is that underground, the roots of this plant are feeding on something underground, like a larger root, like a tree root. Okay, so they're eating the nutrients maybe from this tree. Doesn't mean it's bad, but that's what it has to eat. We don't eat other like things that are alive, so we're not considered parasites. But this is a parasite. But it grows every year, around this time of year. And we're going to see more of it on the trail, and it's called Indian pipe. Yeah.
So the animals bite it?
I'm not sure if any animals eat this plant. Because the animals that eat flowers, they eat the colorful part and the part that has the nectar in it, and they have not been eaten. The flower's still here. So I'm not sure if many animals eat this flower, this fungus. Any other questions? It's called Indian pipe. It's called pipe because it's like a long tube, kind of like a pipe. It's called Indian pipe. And if you look carefully on the sides of the trail, you're going to see a lot of them popping up. They're hard to see though because they have no color. They'd stand out if they were like a color like pink. Okay, or yellow.
There's a bug.
There's a bug on my nose? Oh,
Far away.
thank you.
I think it's
All right.
frozen.
We'll see if we can see those on the way.
Chinese.
I don't think I have a picture of it. But I can take another picture. So the bird that just made that noise, that big, loud tweeting noise, was a woodpecker. And this is a similar woodpecker that we see all the time here. It's called a red-bellied woodpecker. Do you see a red belly on that woodpecker?
No.
No.
But the head is red.
The head is red, but it's not called a red-headed woodpecker. The reason why is because there's another woodpecker, and it's called a red-headed woodpecker. And the reason why is because its entire head is red. This bird is not. So scientists had to make up a quick name to name this guy. So they said, well, the belly's kind of pink, so we're just going to call it red-bellied woodpecker. And that's what they did. No, that is wild lily of the valley. Have you ever seen lily of the valley?
No.
There's a beautiful little white plant right there.
Okay. Right here.
I love it. You guys are little scientists.
Oh, a small one. Thank you.
Did everybody see the picture of the bird? We might actually see it on the way. So just so you could take a picture in your heads.
Jabri, did you get that?
So that you might remember if we see it on the trail. What? You saw something walking? Yep, there's a chipmunk over here. There's a couple birds flying back there in the woods. Solid gray. Let's see if we can get a closer look. We might be able to see it closer to the pond. mushroom.
Come on, guys.
So when we walk on the boardwalk, you're going to see this little orange mushroom here. It's a fungus, and some funguses that grow in the wild are actually edible. I'm not sure if this one is, but it's a type of a cup fungus.
What's that?
And the cup fungus it's shaped kind of like a bowl, okay? Like so it collects water in it if it rains. You see the little bowl shape here? I'm not sure what this one is called, but it might actually be an edible fungus, okay? We're not going to try that. We should never... There are plants that grow in the wild that people can't eat. For example, this thorn bush right here, this is called green briar. And it has thorns. I'm going to be very careful, but these leaves are very young. If you were out in the woods and you were taking a survival class, or you were an avid hiker and you knew your plants, you could actually eat these leaves, the young leaves of a green briar, yeah. You can make a salad out of them or saute them, you know, like you would spinach, and they're actually very tasty. And I've actually eaten some of them myself, and they taste pretty good. It's the same as if you were, you know, to grow lettuce in a garden or, you know, like a salad. This is the same kind of thing. You know, every plant that we eat now used to grow in the wild, like tomatoes. How many of you like tomatoes? I used to not like tomatoes, but now I do. But tomatoes, they used to grow in the wild. And the tomatoes that we know today are developed from tomatoes that grew in the wild, and green briar is just another wild plant that is edible to people. We're not going to eat it now because that's not our objective today, unfortunately. Though it would be really cool to try it. So that's also our cup fungus. And what?
Shh. Be quiet so we can see the turtles. Shahad.
Great blue heron.
To breathe at it?
In case you guys didn't see the great blue heron that was on the dock, it just flew across the water. If you look really carefully, you can see its long, skinny neck sticking out from the plants across the pond. If you can't see it, look at the dock to your right. There's about 4 or 5 turtles on it, sitting in the sun.
Right there.
You guys want to turn around and take a look at this?
Oh, Debris, take a picture of this.
This is... that's right, there is nothing in it, but there's a reason. I wouldn't hold a live turtle here if I kept it in my small bag because the turtle would be uncomfortable. But this is just a shell. When turtles die, they leave the shell behind, and there's a reason why the shell gets left behind. Do you know what turtle shell is made out of? Great guess. Well, think of something that's hard in even people. What makes a body stand up and is really hard? Bone. Turtles have bones just like we do, except they have a bone that grows outside their body, and that's their shell. Do you think a turtle can leave its shell?
No.
The turtles are born with shells on their back, and that shell grows with them as they get older and older. So they can't leave because their shell is attached to their spine, the same way we have a spine on our back, and we can feel it if we touch it. We just don't have a shell on top of it. But a turtle shell grows with them throughout its life. And the top of its shell here, you can see it's really flat. Take a look at that. It's not really round at all.
It's hard.
It is hard, but it's flat
I saw the inside.
because a painted turtle is a swimming turtle. Not all turtles like to swim, but this one does. You can see it's nice and flat.
I think I see the spine of the turtle.
Yeah. You can see the spine inside the shell if you have a closer look.
I think
If you want, you guys can touch the shell and feel what it's like.
It's hard, probably.
It is, because it's bone. It's the same as
One
if
at
you
a
were...
time, guys. You'll get a chance. Do it nicely.
Kind of, yeah. There are some turtles that are very closely related to dinosaurs.
On top of the... When the turtle got out, the spine was it.
Well, the turtle passed away. The turtle died. All things die in nature, and the turtle's body was... Yeah, the turtle's body, you know, disintegrated away, but the bone was left behind.
It's bone.
Yeah. Let me show you a picture of the turtles out there so you can see a closer look at what we're talking about.
Turtle shell. Did you write turtle shell?
Okay, so this is what we're talking about when I say a painted turtle. The ones that we have in the pond here. You can see the shell. That's the shell that I just had in my hand.
What happened to that? The color. The orange.
The orange?
The color just left out.
It does, because when the turtle dies, the color goes away. But the reason why it's called a painted turtle is not because people paint it. It's because it has those colors. It looks like something, you know, like an artist, you know, made those nice, beautiful colors on the turtle. Not all turtles look like this. We actually have a much bigger turtle here that people should actually consider from. Yes. Have any of you guys ever seen a snapping turtle before?
No. I got it. In person. No, did you put me?
Yeah, it's a much bigger turtle. These are actually pretty small, but snapping turtles, they're the biggest turtle we have. They can be about maybe this big. Okay, so they can be pretty big. And they're known for not being very friendly turtles, but the reason why is because they're very territorial. So when a turtle claims its space, let's say it's a snapping turtle claimed this deck, and we wanted to walk on the deck when the snapping turtle was there. To the snapping turtle, we're invading its territory. So a snapping turtle might, you know, get aggressive at us and snap its teeth at us. Not because he's mean, but because you probably wouldn't like it. It's right, it's his territory. The same way like your house or your bedroom is your territory. If somebody tried to live in your bedroom with you, you'd be pretty upset too. Okay? Animals do the same thing. They just don't live in bedrooms. That's right.
Last time I saw when we had picture this one, a big turtle eating vegetables and the
Yeah? These turtles eat vegetables too. Actually, snapping turtles will eat lots of things. They'll eat eggs, they'll eat baby birds, they'll eat other turtles, they'll eat frogs. What? Popcorn? They might eat popcorn if it's left behind, but it's not really a natural food for them. Yep, that's swamp rose. I'll move out of the way so you guys can take a quick photo. This is swamp rose. Shouldn't reach out and touch it though because there's thorns on the bush, so just be careful. But that's swamp rose. And anybody recognize these? Oh, they're blueberries. These are edible. Are we going to eat them? No, because they're at the swamp, and if we want blueberries, we can easily get them at a store. But these are the same blueberries that people eat at the store. These are wild. If you were surviving out in the wilderness, you could absolutely eat these berries. They only grow this time of year. This is the only time you'll see the berry. But there are other animals that love to eat berries too. Can you think of any animals that might love to eat berries? Bear, yeah, absolutely. Bears. Chipmunks, yeah. And you said something too. Birds, lots and lots of birds. You guys can hear them all up above you. We can't see them, but we can sure hear them. There's a lot of birds around where there's lots of food, lots of berries. Yeah. I'm not sure what it is. We're going to head this way. We'll try to think of what it is.
That's the bottom of the flower.
Was it like a flower or
Slow down.
I didn't have numbers on it.
We're standing next to one particular tree. This particular tree has a lot of leaves going even on the trunk. But if you take a look at trees, do they always have leaves that close to the trunk? No. No, they're usually on branches that are sticking out from it. This is a different plant on the tree. How many of you have ever heard of poison ivy? This is poison ivy. It's a vine. it needs the tree to reach the sun because poison ivy can't grow by itself. It needs to get closer to the sun by climbing on a tree. You guys know poison ivy because it has leaves of 3. Okay, and if it has leaves of 3, you let it be. You don't touch it because it gives you like a rash on your skin. There are some people, though, who never get the poison ivy rash on their skin. Sometimes, you know, people just are immune to it, but actually, I've actually never gotten poison ivy myself. But sometimes it happens that the more you touch poison ivy, the more the chemical in the leaves, it's called urushiol, gets absorbed into your skin, and that means the more times you touch it, the more likely you are to have a reaction the next time you touch it again. So we should always try to avoid poison ivy when we can. There's a secret though. We humans are the only animals that have a reaction to poison ivy. Everything else in the swamp, bears, turkeys, raccoons, squirrels, think it's delicious and they eat it. And they have no reaction to it. We're the only ones that do. It's funny when you think about it. And there's more blueberries right behind it. You guys can take a look at that as you pass it.
Chicken nuggets, chicken, steak. Yeah, steak. I love those barbecue chicken. Oh yeah, I'm gonna have the bones. Yeah, I'm gonna add that one. One of the barbecue chicken wrap with bones, they have bones. I didn't have that.
Flowers are dangling on the side of the trail. That's called lizard tail. It's a flower.
You cut? But John, who touched poison ivy? You touched like
What animal do you think this came from? A deer. It came from a deer. Did it come from moose? Probably not because, well, moose have different antlers. Their antlers are more flat, and they live further up north. I don't think there's ever been a moose in New Jersey. I would think it would be cool, but unfortunately there is none. No, actually the deer did not have to die in order to leave this behind. Deer, they grow antlers every single year. And do you think that all deer grow antlers, or just the girls, or just the boys? What do you think? It's actually the boy deer that grow antlers, and they grow 2 of them on the side of their head. So if I was a boy deer, I'd have 2 antlers. Looks like this. How do I look as a deer? I look good? No? Yeah? No? I don't think I look so great as a deer. But antlers, they're made out of bone, just like the turtle shell. And they grow it every year, and actually they grow it in the wintertime. And by January or February, they fall off every single year. And the deer doesn't have to die. The older the deer gets, the bigger the antlers are. And this is pretty small for a deer, so we might on the trail see antlers falling on the ground that are much bigger than this. You guys can have a feel for what it's like. It does feel soft. Why do you think it feels soft? Yeah, because it's smooth. Yeah. A lot of people think that when they touch the deer antler, they think it's fake. But this is a real antler.
Wow, to the bottom.
That's just the way it looks when it comes out of its head. Just all bumpy like that.
It's like blood.
It just grows. They've had an adaptation where they grow antlers. Do you know why deer grow antlers? That's right, yeah. What? For protection. The main reason why deer grow antlers, they do have antlers to protect themselves from other deer and from other animals that might want to eat deer. But the main reason why a deer grows antlers, specifically a boy deer, is because this is how they get girlfriends. Girl deer love antlers. And if you're a boy deer and you have the most impressive set of antlers that are so shiny and beautiful and have lots of little points, then the girls will love you. And that is how a deer do. So, animals are interesting. You know, we want to look good, you know, for other people. This is how deer look good for other girl deer. Okay? Animals have their own way of communicating, the same as we do. What we're going to do, we're going to run into the other group soon, so I want you guys to stay on the right side of the trail in a single file line.
All right, one line on our right.
Say hello to your fellow explorers.
Hi.
That's just sad.
As we come up to this spot right here, we're going to walk in past it so everybody can see it, but this is a chipmunk hole. Chipmunks, they live in holes in the ground. Squirrels live up in trees, but chipmunks, they like to stay on the ground. And their home can have multiple holes to get into the same home. They're tricky that way. The reason why is because there are some animals, like foxes or raccoons, that love to eat chipmunks. That's right. So they need to have several entrances to their home. This is just one of them. They probably have a ton more hidden underneath these leaves that we can't see. So this is just one of them. As we're passing this, point down to it so the person behind you can see if they haven't seen it yet, okay? That way everyone knows where it is.
Is that
No, that looks like a fungus. Yes, that is a black fungus. A mushroom. It's done.
That's the home for the chipmunks. Look. That's what all of it is.
Stopping here in the middle of this part of the trail here because this is a plant that grows here that's really kind of cool. How many of you guys ever seen a pine tree before? Is there a special name that we call pine trees that never lose their needles in the wintertime?
evergreen?
Evergreen. Pine trees and trees with the needles on them, they're evergreen trees. They never lose the leaves in the wintertime. Well, guess what? Neither do these. These are called mountain laurels. And earlier this month and last month they had beautiful white flowers that were shaped like umbrellas. But feel the leaves on these plants. All around you, all these plants here, they're mountain laurel. Feel how thick they are. Nope. I wouldn't ask you to feel them if they were poisonous. I don't want to make you sick. You can feel them. That's a great question. There are lots of insects that like to eat the leaves. And the reason why, when you feel the leaf, you're going to feel it's smooth and waxy and very stiff for a leaf. It's sealing the water inside. That's what the wax does. And the insects, they eat the leaf to drink the water and get the nutrients. Question?
No, I see bite marks on the leaves.
Yep. An insect is probably eating a hole in there. See, here's another one. Insects eat little pieces of leaf.
And one
It does. If you look carefully, we might actually see a caterpillar. They can be tough to find, but they're probably here. Just because we don't see it. Have you ever seen any in East Orange or around your area? No. They can be around your area if you listen very carefully at night. They like to perch on top of buildings too. They're not just found here. Animals can be found all over New Jersey. You just have to know where to look and when to listen. But they can be found anywhere. They're not just found here. Things that can also be found everywhere are their feathers.
Is that an owl feather?
This one is an owl feather. And I'm going to show you the difference in a little bit between these two feathers. But this is an owl feather.
A girl?
Huh?
A girl.
A girl owl? Well, I don't know if it's a girl owl, but this is from a very special owl that's actually an endangered species here. Do you know what it means to be endangered?
Yes.
What does it mean to be
It
endangered?
means they're almost about to be extinct.
Endangered means that it's almost about to be extinct.
Yeah, there's not many of them left in the wild. And unfortunately, it's because their habitat, is destroyed. This is one of the few places that, certain owls can live. This is from a barred owl, not barn owl. Barn owls, they live on people's farms and eat mice. Barred owl have these little stripes on their feathers that look like bars. Now, if I was to ask you what a barred owl sounds like, what could you tell me? Can you give me an example? This is a barred owl. How many of you think that sounds like a dog? It does, like an elephant too.
It's like like both.
It's like both combined. It doesn't really sound like an owl, but this is a real sound. I actually did see this bird awake during the day flying over the trails.
It's a bird?
It's a bird. It's an owl. Now, it's hard to remember different types of bird calls, especially if you don't hear them a lot. But when I hear this sound, I like to imagine that the owl is asking me a question. So if you are lucky enough to hear this where you live, and it is possible, you can think of him saying this to you. Who cooks for you? Who cooks for you all? Yeah, he's asking you a question. Yeah, and then you can respond, I'm having spaghetti tonight. Mom, there's an owl. Okay?
It's a saying.
Yeah. A lot of people think that owls make the noise. Well, only one owl does that. Only one. It's the biggest owl in New Jersey, the great horned owl.
And you can with little tiny bit of puff.
Exactly.
You guys hear that?
I saw the other
That's right. Look at us. We have long
animal.
pants on.
I can't remember.
Yeah. That's okay. But owls, they make different sounds. If you want, you guys can feel this feather, and I want you to feel how soft. Be very gentle. Be very, very gentle. Nope, you're just going to stroke it with one finger. Because I want you to be very, very gentle with it. Very gentle. It's very, very soft. Owls are nocturnal. They fly at night, so they have to have soft feathers so the animals that they're looking for don't hear them coming. So that's why they're very, very soft feathers. They are soft. We can actually tell the difference between, oh thank you, that's okay, I'll fix it. We can actually tell the difference between an owl and another bird. Listen to this feather. Can you hear it?
No.
No. Owls are quiet hunters. They have to hunt at night. And the animals they eat
Listen.
can't hear them coming, otherwise they won't catch their food. So owl feathers are quiet. This feather that I had before, this is from a totally different bird. Can you hear this?
Yeah.
You can hear this. This is from a much stiffer feather from a very large bird that doesn't have to hunt at night. Can you think of any very large brown birds that you might see here?
Hawks.
Great guess. Bigger than a hawk. We think about this bird particularly around the month of November.
Oh man, you guys don't know?
A turkey.
Turkey. We have wild turkeys here. Let me show you a picture of our friend the wild turkey.
That's part of nature, guys.
Mr. V.
Nature.
Here's wild turkey. Yes, they are here.
Remember that, Mr. V? I want to ask you a question. Remember the wild turkey that we
What is your question?
You see the red thing right there?
Yes,
That's that's their neck.
that is part of the throat. It's not because it's sick. It's not a disease. That's just the color. Bright red.
Why do they make it red?
Why do they make it red? That's an excellent question. You know how deer love girl deer love large antlers?
Yeah.
Girl turkeys like that big red thing on their neck,
On a boy's neck?
on a boy's neck. If the boy turkey's neck is very bright and they have big tail feathers and they fan them out and make all sorts of noises like gobble gobble, girl turkeys love that.
The girl
That is how they
right
communicate.
there, the girl turkey that's a skinny girl.
Yes, this is the girl. She's a lot less colorful than the boy.
The boys are popular.
Popular?
Those are fancy.
The boys are fat.
The girls are fancy. They're fancy. They're very delicate. They're very ladylike. But these guys are just showy.
Buff. They're buff.
They're buff. Yeah, they're buff. They're puffing themselves up to look buff. They don't work out. They just look buff. Okay. And you guys can have an opportunity to feel the turkey feather. You can feel how stiff it is. It's probably not as soft as the owl feather. What do you guys think? Yeah?
Not that.
Yeah. You guys back there, do you want to feel the turkey feather?
You guys want to feel it?
Yeah. Everyone have a chance.
Yeah, they're two
It does. It's a stiffer feather. That's why we're able to hear it. Yeah. Good job, you guys. It does. It's a stiffer feather.
That's what happens in nature. You get beaten, you get bitten up.
Good job.
I want to leave my house in the pool.
People, boy.
No,
to eat mosquitoes.
Listen, mosquitoes.
They eat mosquitoes. So if you have a dragonfly flying around your head, you could thank the dragonfly because he's probably eating the mosquitoes around your head. Yep.
Make them for
Yeah. Oh, we had one of your classmates asked, what are these really tall corn-looking plants? They're not corn. They're actually a type of a grass called Phragmites. And this plant should not be here. This is a plant that had come over from Europe many years ago when the first pioneers came by. They brought the seeds with them and they planted this. And it's an invasive species, which means it should not be here, but unfortunately it's able to grow. It's taken over a lot of the space. Now, why would a plant be a bad thing to have? Well, because there are natural native plants that are supposed to be here, but because this plant is growing so big and fast, the native ones can't grow. So you have to be careful, not to spread these around. Sometimes we even have to cut them down so that the actual plants that live here can grow. Yeah.
Our seed, yes.
Yeah, some of them are.
So this plant is like man in the ground.
Rip a piece of plant off from the swamp. Now it's hard to see them now because there's so many plants here, but if you look around, there's a plant with particularly big leaves. Because there's a type of a cabbage here called skunk cabbage.
Oh yeah.
And it grows only, yeah? You learned about it? What can you tell me about skunk cabbage?
Yeah, our book we read yesterday, right? The skunk cabbage.
What can you
Who
tell me about
remembers
skunk
that?
cabbage? Yes, sir.
How do you remember about it?
I forgot.
You forgot? Anybody who remembers? Yeah.
It's stinky.
Why is it stinky?
Because
Skunk
it's
cabbage
stinky.
because of the word skunk.
Well, yeah, it does smell like
It's
skunk.
stinky because
I don't smell it.
it's stinky because some I don't remember.
That's okay.
I think it's because the skunk lived there.
Not because a skunk lived there. It's because it smells like skunk. That's why it's stinky.
You guys stand
But
up.
why would anything want to smell like skunk? Well, let's see. If you were eating your favorite ice cream, and if your favorite ice cream smelled like skunk, would you want to eat it?
No.
No. There are animals here that love to eat skunk cabbage. And if you're a plant, can you run away?
No.
No. So you have to have an adaptation to help you try to fend off the animals that want to eat you. And animals that want to eat skunk cabbage are bears and snapping turtles. Love to eat skunk cabbage. And in order to try to make animals, not want it, it smells really bad. Now, can people eat it because it's called a cabbage? Maybe. If you need to survive, skunk cabbage can be eaten, but only if you boil it 9 times. Okay? Because it actually, if you tried to eat this, it actually has a crystal inside of it that could make your mouth very, very sore and hurt. So we're not going to eat it, but it's perfectly safe to smell. Do you agree that it smells like skunk? You can have a smell. Is it gone? Okay, thanks.
Oh! Look at it.
They don't call it skunk cabbage.
All right, guys, remember we have to write down an observatory chart when we get back, right?
They don't call it skunk cabbage for nothing.
My recorder, did you write that down, skunk cabbage?
Deer or black bear or turkeys, but we do know that animals are here all the time, even though we don't see them. And this is true for when you're home. Even if there's just one tree near you, you never know what you can find in it. Birds, bugs, caterpillars, lots of things. Yeah. Squirrels, yeah.
Does the animals eat the food from here, or people can feed them?
Nobody's allowed to feed them. They eat the food that's all around them. But I want to show you an example that animals are here all the time. You just have to know where to look. Standing at the tree here. I want you to follow my finger up this tree and tell me what you see.
Holes.
What animal made those holes?
Woodpeckers.
We have the largest woodpecker in New Jersey that makes holes here in these trees. And it looks like this.
It's a woodpecker.
It's a pileated woodpecker. It's the biggest woodpecker in New Jersey.
Let me take a picture.
Bree, you got the
Make the
picture?
whole food to live in there.
They make the holes to live in there, but they also make the holes to
Wait till
get
she come
bugs.
around. Go ahead,
Because
Bree,
there's
take the
bugs living
picture
inside
right there.
trees.
For the baby.
Yep.
Don't go on that side. You have to be on the side of the
So pileated woodpecker. If you were to try to visualize how big they are, if you picture my forearm, they're as big as my forearm, up to down. They're a pretty big bird. Yep.
They look so small.
And their call actually sounds pretty cool. They sound like they're laughing at people. They sound like like that.
A chipmunk. There's a chipmunk on the tree.
Yeah?
Yep.
It's right there.
I see a robin back there. Another bird. Excellent, you guys.
We go inside and divert in These are bigger. And